Everybody. All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the February 6th, 2024 meeting of the Mecklenburg County Economic Development Committee. I am Commissioner Susan Rodriguez McDowell, and I have the pleasure of serving as chair of this committee. So we welcome the public who have been provided with a call-in number to access this meeting. The agenda was sent out to those already on the distribution list. If anyone would like electronic copies of any presentation materials today, please make these requests via email to Megan Witt. Her email address is megan.witt@mecnc.gov. So we will begin today with our introductions, those of us here in the Government Center. And I will start with the commissioner on my right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Mark Jarrell, District 4.
Thank you. Now to my left.
Good afternoon. I'm Laura Meyer and I represent District 5.
Good afternoon, Lee Altman, serving at large.
And we have a guest commissioner here joining us. Would you please introduce yourself?
I am Mecklenburg County Commissioner Elaine Powell, representing District 1, which is all of North Mecklenburg. And I see Northern Towns on the agenda, and that makes me smile, and I'm here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And just so people know, normally our committees have 4 members, but any commissioner can attend any of the meetings. And so just wanted to make that clear. So let's go with our staff. Can we start with our deputy county managers?
Yes, good afternoon. Leslie Johnson, Deputy County Manager.
Good afternoon, Mike Bryant, Deputy County Manager.
Awesome. And now let's go on this side.
Roger Johnson, Economic Development.
Monica Greer, Economic Development.
Shahid Rana, Economic Development.
Keisha Whitley, Economic Development.
Megan Witt, Economic Development.
Amelia Davis, Economic Development.
Clay Andrews, Economic Development.
Agustin Velasquez, Economic Development.
All right. Well, should we do the folks online? Let's go ahead and do
Yes, online with Economic Development, we have Fred Atimo and Ellie Fester. We also have Brett Clampett with the Public Information Office and Timothy Tibbs with the Manager's Office.
that. All right. So at this point, we don't have any members of the public on. All right. Okay, so next we will entertain a motion to approve the January 17th, 2024 meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Commissioner Jarrell, seconded by Commissioner Meyer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously approved. Thank you, everyone. So I will now recognize Deputy County Manager Leslie Johnson to introduce the next agenda item.
Good afternoon. It is a great pleasure that we are providing you a host of updates of what the Economic Development Team has been embarked on this past few months. One of it's around the small business. They call it do they have it on here? Yeah, Project Biz Up. As you may recall, in Economic 2.0, we made a concerted effort that we wanted to be more intentional and collaborative with regards to our towns as it relates to economic development, leveraging our expertise and resources and assisting them with providing tools and being strategic with regards to planning. We had initial tee-up meetings with them, and then they have subsequent email conversations and planning sessions, so they'll give you an update there. Also, you may have seen correspondence as it relates to workforce development efforts. You may be aware that this team is, on behalf of the county, leading in partnership with others 2 job readiness workshops and then a companion job expo. They'll be sharing you updates with you about what was originally planned, where we are, and how things are progressing there. And then there'll be a couple updates around the Crowns of Enterprise before we go into closed session.
Great, thank you.
And with that, I'll turn it over to, I believe, Shar, you're taking the lead.
Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to present to you a few updates in regards to our workforce development pilot that we have here. So our workforce development pilot, as Deputy County Manager Dr. Johnson referenced, we have 2 job readiness workshops and also Career Expo. This is a part of our Economic Development 2.0 implementation from the policy that was presented to you all before. And this particular workforce development pilot for the job readiness workshops and the Career Expo, we're looking at public and private sector opportunities, specifically with construction, maintenance and facilities management, and manufacturing jobs is kind of our first sector as a part of this pilot. And I'll explain why as we go through the next slides. So in regards to the actual expo itself, the expo will be held at Central Piedmont's Harris Conference Center. You guys should be familiar with that space.
Some of us just came from there.
Right, and we have over 40 plus businesses who are registered as a part of that expo. To date, we have over 350 registrants for that event, and we have over 400 plus job opportunities. So these are the current vacancies with the 40 plus companies. Out of the 40 plus companies, over 25 organizations offer job opportunities for those who are in justice involved. Now that, depending on that classification of justice involved, it varies, but I just wanted to put that out there as well. Over 34 organizations also provide work opportunities for those who speak Spanish. And at least 36 out of the 40 plus organizations are paying at least $20 an hour. They have opportunities at $20 an hour. And out of the 40 plus, I would say 11 of those organizations, minimum wage is $20 an hour. So for clarifications, some companies may have their starting wage at $15, $16, or $17 an hour, but they have opportunities that go up to 20. And as a part of the workforce development strategy, especially by Unified Workforce, these opportunities are typically broken down into 3 categories. Paycheck, which is basically, I need an opportunity to have a paycheck, to have a working opportunity to get my foot in the door. There's also opportunities. So we classify those jobs at $20 or more, and then career opportunities. So paycheck, opportunities, and careers. Based off of the expo that we have job opportunities in all 3 categories. So for those who may be just as involved and need to have their first work experience, for those who may be immigrants and looking for their first work experience in the US, and for those who just need a foot in the door to start that climb up the career ladder, we have opportunities for people to get their foot in the door, to have a great opportunity at an employment center, and then essentially grow into a career. And last but not least, we have 9 organizations that were also BIP recipients or part of our OED corporate concierge program. So these are folks that Clay, Andrews, and Augustine have been working with, who have been calling. These are also some of the companies that we've brought before you in closed session and for a public hearing as well, when we're always asking about, hey, how are we connecting residents to these companies that we're approving these BIPs for? Well, none of the companies are showing up at the expo. They have openings and that they're also looking to hire. In regards to the list of employees that I have here, I won't read everything off of the list, but this is in alphabetical order. But the ones that are in bold and in teal, these are our public sector vendors who are hiring. So we have folks from Central Piedmont Community College. I'm going to skip the list and go straight to Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg County is also hiring as well. We have multiple departments. Our HR and talent development will also be at the expo assisting, helping to be concierge to the residents who will be coming in, and also pointing them in directions in order to get them for other partners and resources. So think of, hey, I came in and I need help with childcare, or I need help with transportation needs. We'll have Unified Workforce and a few of our other departments there to assist with resources. We'll have a resource table. But as I mentioned before, this will be public sector jobs and private sector jobs. The last thing I'll share in regards to the job opportunities, we classified the jobs as indoor, so that is administrative support. Although the categories is in regards to construction, facilities, and advanced manufacturing, I could be a finance director at an advanced manufacturing facility. I could be the marketing specialist at a construction firm. So these are not just limited to the actual trades and blue collar work, but the blue collar companies also have front office and administrative opportunities as well. So you have those indoor opportunities, which I'm classifying as an office. You have outdoor opportunities for those who are in construction or facilities that are outdoor. And then we also have what we categorize as facility opportunities. So you're inside, but you may be doing manual labor as an HVAC technician or within an advanced manufacturing facility. And really the distribution between all of those categories is about a third of each. So we have a wide range of jobs, whether it's a paycheck, an opportunity, a salaried career, no experience, certifications, advanced degrees, indoor, outdoor, and facility, public sector and private sector. So across the board as this pilot, we wanted to cast a little bit of a wider net to understand where some of the needs are and look to dive a little bit deeper as we go forward. So the employer registration is sold out, as you see there in red. So we're no longer accepting other employers just because of the capacity. And we have a good representation here, as you see on the list. And our community partners, we have a wide range of community partners from Charlotte Works, The Rock, She Built the City, Urban League, the Carolinas, and a lot more. So if someone's coming in off the street and they're not a part of a workforce training program, and they're in finance or they're in food or hospitality, and they want to get a career in construction or advanced manufacturing, they have the opportunity to talk to our workforce training providers in our community to understand what training and certificate programs are available, and then also sign up at the expo. So they'll be represented there as well. And lastly, you'll see the NC Works Mobile Career Center, which has 20 stations inside. For the day of the event, there are 20 computer stations where they'll be able to update resume, print resumes, apply to jobs, and also provide technical support at the day of the event. In regards to our job readiness workshops, we actually had our first workshop today. The event today was held at Hornets Nest Indoor Pavilion right off of Beatty's Ford, hence our uniforms here that we're wearing.
Good looking. I was wondering.
Appreciate it. And that was also co-facilitated with Unified Workforce and a few of our other community partners. We have a workshop that's also being hosted tomorrow at Veterans Park. Our goals were about 50 registrants, but we received more registration. So we extended that registration list. And then we had a wait list as well. So we're also doing a third one this week as well at VCW to try to accommodate those who could not make these events. So as I said, again, this is a pilot. So we wanted to see the demand, where are people coming from? We also did surveys at the actual job readiness workshop, trying to get a gauge of if people are employed, if they are unemployed, what career sectors are they coming from? And this is also our way to capture to see what other wraparound services that they need. We did not put a lot of those questions in the actual event registration because A, too many questions would deter someone from registering. And then B, it may be embarrassing to put that information on a computer, but we asked it in a non-confrontational way and in a secure setting. So we'll be analyzing that data. We're tracking a lot of data sets as we go along, how we're reaching out to people, where they're coming from, what level of education that they have. And from the photos that we, to show you a brief photo here of the facilitation, we had everyone from someone who literally just got out of jail weeks ago to someone with a MBA and a PMP certification. So we had a wide range of folks. We've had folks who joined today that drove from Pineville to Beatty's Ford as well. And we had a mix between age demographic, socioeconomic status, degree in education, which shows the demand that there are people who are willing to join these type of events that are not a part of a workforce development training program for various reasons. And one could be the time commitment. Someone who's looking for a job today may not have the opportunity, resources, or time to sign up for a 6-week, 8-week, 12-week program. So as we look to collect the data, could we do this moving forward with certain sectors? Maybe it's healthcare, maybe it's finance, maybe we continue with the trades and look to do these again at a later time. Those are certain things that you'll probably hear a little bit later. Don't want to give a spoiler alert, but we're looking to continue our partnerships that we've started, get more data, and look how we can build upon that data and reach different target audiences. I seen you reaching for the mic. I thought you
Well, I was going to wait my turn, but since you gave me the opportunity, Roger Johnson, Economic Development, I will mention, I was at the workshop this morning, and the thing that stood out to me that was very prominent and noteworthy was the training that took place taught the participants how to effectively navigate the systems to get your foot in the door. And by that, I mean, today, modern technology is using AI for human resources. So they're looking for keywords. If you're going to be in a manufacturing job, you need to put advanced manufacturing in your resume, OSHA in your resume, ISO certified in your resume, so that when the AI works, it takes your resume in and moves it on to the hiring manager. It talked about not having inappropriate email addresses. It talked about making sure your social media was appropriate. It talked about how you need to leave a voicemail message, removing all those barriers to entry that people don't think about as they go through the process. I thought it was very enlightening, not only to those in the room, but myself included.
Thank you, Roger, for that further detail. But as Roger mentioned, it was an excellent workshop in partnership with Unified Workforce. We also had Charlotte Works who helped co-facilitate, and also representative from Goodwill as well. So those representatives will be helping to facilitate the workshops tomorrow and then also on Thursday. So excellent workshop. We're looking to continue the engagement with the folks who attended to get more data and to also follow up with them on their employment journey. Now, here's one caveat as a part of the workshops as well. Why do we have the workshops? Number one, we want to prepare people for the opportunity at an expo. So there is a group of people, there are a population of people who are already a part of a program. Your Goodwills, your She Built the Cities, the Rocks, and the like. They're already getting job readiness training. They're already getting this level of expertise in subject matter in regards to resume building and the like. But there's a large group of people from the general population. We want to prepare them for the opportunity at the expo. So you don't have to come off the street and not receive the same services and lose that opportunity, whether you didn't prepare your resume the right way or you didn't do the homework in advance, but we want to set them up for success. And as a part of the career readiness workshops, what we're doing is we gave a resume building briefer. The participants are submitting their resumes to the collective team. That's OED and Unified Workforce. Unified Workforce has also assigned caseworkers to review the resumes, to also look at the job opportunities and postings from the lists of companies that have posted, that are attending. And what we're doing is we're helping them and screen their resumes and looking to do first screening interviews at the expo. So if you attended the workshop today, you reply to the collective team, I'm interested in Mecklenburg County's permitting. Here's my resume. This is the job posting I plan to apply to. Our team looks at your resume, looks at the job posting, offers suggestions, and then when you apply, we're flagging the employer. For those who can interview on the spot, not everyone can interview the day of. And then we're setting up pre-screen interviews the day of. So this is an opportunity, if you join the workshop, to get you in front of the employer, because the last thing you want to do is sacrifice your time. You're unemployed, you go to a workshop, you go to the expo, you get a swag bag, some candy and some pens, and there's no end goal on the facilitation of at least an introduction to a company. So that's the part of the meaningful connection that we're doing in regards to taking the residents, preparing them for the opportunity, and putting them directly in front of the employer, especially those who are not a part of a program. So what's next? We're looking at our marketing efforts. PI has been amazing. We have Britt Clampett and Liz Graham who've been extra helpful. We have CATS marketing in 59 buses, advertising everywhere. You've probably received emails from us, have seen the Job Expo cards. Madam Chairs have them in her purse, passes them out. At our last meeting there, I seen her. But I would say a lot of our marketing efforts started out grassroots. What does that mean? We had a call list of community partners and folks in the community, and Augustine literally was calling people all week. Hey, did you receive the email? We have an opportunity. We want to make sure you have that opportunity. There's probably been at least 5 or 6 touches to community organizations and community stakeholders to make them aware. You can't just blast out an email and expect for someone to know, like, and trust the event. But we wanted to incorporate some of our sales techniques on the business recruitment side, on the job fair side. So there's some cross training. There's some transferable skills. One of my buzzwords from the workshop today that we're utilizing from OED in our business attraction techniques and putting that into the workforce space of getting community partners to sign up, to commit, and to also establish a longer relationship. So what does that mean for this particular group here? As you see, we have the flyers in Spanish. We also have a multitude of Spanish-speaking workers at OED and also Unified Workforce that's also a part of the programming as well. We need your help in just spreading the word. We have the event. I'm sure you'll probably receive another line of communication with the flyers, but we just request that you share this with your networks, and we appreciate all of the support. If you guys are out in the ecosystem, to share the event, and we're here to help make sure that residents get connected to jobs.
Thank you. And two things that I'll point out is he's used the word pilot, and that really is what it is. This is the first time that this team is trying it on and trying to be very intentional about how we're going about it, from marketing, how we're engaging with the individuals, having the readiness, just not having the job expo, working with our partners within economic services, working with our external partners in the community, and trying to figure out what and how to make this work. This team has just jumped right into me pushing the envelope and saying, hey, this is where we want to go. How do we make it all happen? And you can see it's been an all team effect. So there may have been a subset that started it, but when it's time to do the job for the days of the events, it's almost an all teams hands-on effect. And we're going to learn from it. I think we're going to get some successes, but we're going to learn from it. There's going to be some opportunities as well. One kind of discovery is we started to have as we're seeing, like, okay, how do we ensure people show up and be in attendance? Are there things like bus routes, other things that we may not have taken into consideration that we need to be more intentional about? And that's why he keeps saying that we're going to be looking at the data to help inform us as we move forward. So welcome the questions. We think that we're off on a good start and a good footing. And there's been a lot of effort to try to make this work and be successful with it.
Awesome. All right, great. Thank you so much. Let's go with, who has questions? Anyone want to go first?
That's fine.
Okay.
So I think this is great. The comprehensive approach and the outreach and boots on the ground, I think it's excellent. Are the companies committed to providing data to us with respect to hires and the initial hires plus those who get into the process? Are we able to track and maybe source to figure out the success rate?
Yep, that's a part of the tracking. We have scheduled follow-up, but not only the employers, but also the residents who have attended as well.
That's fantastic. And so the last question I have is the distinction between the workshop. I love the workshop because it prepares people. What are my chances if I didn't go to the workshop, but I'm just going to the expo? Like, what are my chances of kind of getting in front? I won't be able to get in front of somebody that day if I did not attend the workshop. Is that the way
No,
it works?
you'll be able to get in front of, so we'll have the major expo floor that has all of the employers, and you'll be able to communicate with all of the employers. The actual separate interview or the pre-screenings, those are going to be in separate rooms. So you'll still be able to get in front of the employers, exchange your information, but you will not have that interview process. So this is a part of our screening, to see what folks from the general public may need resources. And the other thing is too, we didn't want to duplicate efforts. A part of the message, especially from the manager's office, is there are resources already for community partners that we're giving money to, that they're responsible for making those employer connections. So there are some people who may be referred directly from a workforce training partner. People hear about this off the street. We've also did the listserv through Central Piedmont Community College as well. But the goal is to take their information, to track the data, to follow up, to see what their journey is. So if someone who's not in the program, who comes in, who's a walk-in, we still have their information. We can follow up with them and then point them in the right direction. So this is just one event that we've been mentioning to people, but there'll be follow-up as well.
I will add, Commissioner, that you can walk off the street and come in and submit your resume. There is no the advantage is being prepared through the process. If you choose to skip that, you still have the same opportunity to apply and be hired.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Commissioner Meyer, do you have any?
Yeah, well, not really. I just want to say this is amazing because, I mean, obviously companies here in Charlotte need people to work and obviously people want to work. So that's exciting. I guess my only question is at an expo, the way I envision it, it's like they're all standing at their tables with their information and then you walk around and you get information and talk to employers and that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Are you able to, like you were talking about earlier, like have an interview right there or give them a resume right there?
You can give an employer your resume on the spot
Yeah,
at an expo booth,
okay,
but we'll also have people who are pre-screened to actually have the interviews. So someone walking in off the street won't be able to come in and have an interview. It's more so the scheduling and time constraints.
right, okay.
That's a lot of people management to take someone off the street that that's not vetted. We don't know their credentials and haven't went through our program to put them in front of an employer that we've established a relationship with. So we're scheduling those slots for people who are in a workforce training program or have went through one of our workshops.
Did you invite anyone from Gaston County or
No,
Fort Mill?
this is
It's just
for
only
only
companies from the Mecklenburg County area?
only
Okay.
companies who are in Mecklenburg and only residents who are Mecklenburg County
Okay.
residents.
Okay, right, thank you.
I will mention one other thing because it's related to your question. What you see on the screen is from the North Carolina Commerce. You can actually show up there and they'll help you produce a resume and print it out on the spot if you're ill prepared.
That's terrific. All right, Commissioner Altman.
Thank you. So this is just truly exciting. Tell me, obviously, nobody wants to duplicate resources. In what sense is this a value added, not a duplication? How do you see this in the ecosystem that's out there?
I see it as a value add because number one, with the time, not every program is offering a kind of a very kind of quick ad hoc opportunity. And then B, we're working in tandem with our partners. So there isn't a left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. We're in coordination with all of our workforce training partners. As I mentioned before, we had Charlotte Works who was there as well to help co-facilitate. We're working interdepartmental as well, enterprise-wide with other Mecklenburg County. But really what this pilot has shown us is our office can be a convener on the public sector, private sector, multiple organizations, and also enterprise-wide.
So is it a fair statement? I mean, from my point of view, this is exactly an expression of what the board has been asking for, which is for us to plug holes and accelerate where we can have a value add, because the need, when you take somebody who wants to work and you actually help them work, I mean, you've changed a life, you've changed a family, you've changed generations. I can't think of something more important for us to be a part of, for us to be contributing to those outcomes in the ways that we uniquely can. We really ought to. Were you going to say something?
I was going to mention another value add, if I
Yes,
may.
sir.
Shaw, Clay, Augustine bring a connection to the business community that maybe those other nonprofit support organizations don't have. And secondly, we had relationships with North Carolina Commerce and Charlotte and some other state level organizations who aren't normally part of this process. So bringing additional partners to the table. One example of where that adds value is Veronica Grantham with North Carolina Commerce had an existing database of like 3,800 different contacts that are directly related to these types of events. When she sent out a blast of, hey, we're working on this, there was a direct correlation between that and people signing up for our career expos. There are folks out there who need help who are not part of our existing programs. So we're filling that gap. We're connecting with those folks who aren't part of She Built the City or The Rock or Justice Involved. They're just regular folks who may be working at a fast food restaurant or waiting tables who want a career opportunity that we're reaching that others may not have.
And what I'm hearing from y'all is that this is an innovation that we haven't done this before. So am I correct in understanding this is new for Mecklenburg County?
Yep, correct.
So whenever you make presentations to the board, I think it would be really great if you, as you did today, but even sharpen up why this is not duplicative, you know, how this is a value add, how we are not wasting money, because I have heard some of my colleagues express concerns around that. And I think this is so important. I want them to have accurate information so they don't think that this is just, you know, duplicative. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to, you know, and I mean, 350 registrants is amazing. 400 jobs in the offing is amazing. I would like to also say, I love the warm handoff that you are facilitating. I see that innovation with what you're talking about. Actually, I was at Tuesday Morning Forum this morning. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it's a once a week political gathering that's been happening since the 1970s. And they were just talking today about how they feel they don't hear enough from us about the work we do. And so perhaps someone from staff could show up at a future meeting. I can help get you connected so you can maybe even offer this information. Or they also have like bulletins and announcements that we need to be, that's just one of the many great ways to get information. But if it's not on your radar, it needs to be a regular place that you're pushing information, because they really have a great ear to the ground. You know, if we need to discuss bus passes for people who are registering, but they're having trouble getting to your event, I don't know what is possible, but I would love to explore it with CATS if that seems like you have people who are struggling with transportation. And lastly, Dr. Johnson, I am not confident that we're hearing frequently enough from the people who are doing the Pearl about their collaboration with Mecklenburg County on workforce development. You know, we had an initial sort of sell to us about what they were going to do. And then I was in a meeting with the manager and you and Mr. Trotman and the woman, I forgot her name, but that's already been, you know, I don't know, half a year, you know, 6 months ago. It's been a while. And I wasn't real happy with what I heard in that meeting. I didn't feel real confident or, you know, warm and fuzzy, to quote Commissioner Jarrell. So, so I would like to ask for an update or to have them come back and be accountable to us, because I just don't want the ship to keep sailing. And we were serious and we need to demonstrate that with the follow-up. So if you could help us do that. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Powell, do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
My first question is, it's sold out. That's great that it's sold out. Will you have an information sheet? And I love that you said you went to Mecklenburg first. Will you have an information sheet for other departments in Mecklenburg County that have vacancies for anyone that comes that, you know, it's good to see all these, but we have vacancies in other departments. Will you have that? Or if you don't, when you add it?
Yeah, we'll definitely add it. And we've been in contact with Director DeAnthony Tillery as well about support at the event and making sure that residents are fully aware of Mecklenburg County opportunities, even beyond the trades. So yes.
Thank you. My second question is this bus available to us? Have we used this bus for the resume?
It's available to us and anyone could help, can actually register the bus for an event. As far as our particular office, we have not utilized that bus. But this is a part of that strategic partnership with NC Commerce. And this was also lended to us for this particular event to make sure that it had a presence there.
Yeah.
I will add that it's a state-owned asset that you have to get on the calendar and request.
Yeah, but I love that it's available to us, because when you were doing the presentation, I love all the layers. because I've seen a big change since I was sworn in 2018 of how this is managed. And because I was like, who thought of all these things? Your team, like, it's awesome that you thought of all the different layers. But when you were going over, Roger was talking about AI, I thought, AI, like, you know how I feel about AI. And so I thought, gosh, the fact that they have to think about words on their resume, it's hard enough for some of these people to even craft a resume, but thank God that you're helping them with that, because if I was trying to get a job in solid waste, I would need your help with AI because it's not familiar to me. So I love the different layers, but I think like a critical layer is, especially you said you had somebody there who just got out of jail or prison 2 weeks ago. How would they even have a resume? And there's so many young people that don't have the computer equipment to do it. It would be nice to have that bus available, especially like in some areas where so many people don't have computers. And I love that you have one at Hornets Nest that is like right on the edge of my district, but it serves so many different people right there in that corridor. And I just want to point out to everyone that these are at Park Properties.
Yep.
But those are my big questions, like, really helping people that focusing on the people that don't have resumes or the ability to do resumes. And I love all the different layers that you have. And I love that you said it's going to create, both of you said, it's going to create more learning opportunities because you're ready for it.
Yep.
Because if you think, oh, this is perfect, you're not ready for it. And so it's a whole different mindset from when I was first sworn in, and I love it.
Appreciate that. I would say as a comment, Unified Workforce works primarily out of VCW, which is one of our community resource centers, in addition to the Scarborough Center that's opened up off of Eastway and Tryon. And we've shared information to all of the participants that you can walk in their computer access, and then you can also receive technical support for these services. So we're coordinating between Unified Workforce, DSS as caseworkers, and we also gave information to our library systems as well. So we're connecting all of the dots. In regards to the layering, I would say that's first part leadership and guidance from Dina, our executive team, on understanding your priorities and making sure we're responsive. When we started to kind of tinker at this workforce development sector, these were conversations that were helped led by Commissioner Altman. We did several roadshows a couple years ago with several of the organizations that were not even a part of Mecklenburg County's program. They were not vendors. She Built the City was not a vendor at the time, and a few others, but we brought those introductions to the executive team and Dina, and that also helped influence the ARPA program in which DCM Bryant helped facilitate it. And I got a chance to sit on that grant review committee with Eric Ortega. So all of the layering has been very intentional in really a response to the community, understanding the community pulse survey, understanding your board priorities when we come out of these retreats, also taking best practices from our DCMs and making sure that we're intentional with the portfolio. You referenced the parks. Well, guess what? Parks falls under Dr. Johnson's portfolio. So when it was time to register for a facility, Dr. Johnson picked up the phone to Lee Jones and said, I need something. Will your park rangers be available? So the level of customer service, the coordination, and all of the intentionality has been very methodical. We've been taking data, best practices, input, and counsel over the past couple of years to make sure that we execute a pilot at an extremely high level. Pilot also doesn't give us an excuse to kind of fumble something, but to really take best practices, execute at a sampling level, and see how we can scale that into different opportunities. So I appreciate your comments and insights, but I just wanted to provide some insight that it was a teamwork effort and starting with our leadership on the 11th floor.
Thank you. And I want to say it again. I'm going to keep talking about this because it's county government. Touch points matter. And I feel like touch points got lost in COVID. And this is so full of touch points that I'm like, oh, there's, it gives me hope because we lost so many, and like, I'm really impressed. And I love when you talked about expanding it to healthcare and finance potentially, like I like.
Potentially, this is a pilot.
I know, you said potential and I recorded it. And so just thank you for everything. Thank you for the leadership. Thank you for all the teamwork. I just think there's a lot of hope here. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. Okay, I just have one question in the interest of time. You mentioned 9 BIPs recipients. So can you just say a little bit more? Because you also said or OED clients. So is that a mixture of BIP recipients and just, the 9? Who does that make up?
Absolutely. So we have a few who are registered, who recently received a BIP. For example, Elnix Systems was a advanced manufacturer that relocated from New Jersey, that's in Pineville. That's just one. And then we have a few other clients in the advanced manufacturing space who may not have received a grant, but we've provided technical support by way of Louisa in permitting, or have contacted us about other support services. So within business recruitment, we traditionally had an existing industry program whose primary function were to talk and communicate with employers of choice, specifically in the advanced manufacturing space. These are larger employers who have larger investments, to make sure that we had a pulse on the business community. So that way, when someone did leave or someone was expanding, we understood what was happening before we found out it in the news. So that's a part of our team's overall programming, is to do that existing industry outreach, not only for those who received the grant, but also for large employers in a particular sector. The focus has been more towards the BIP recipients because just the case management of it all. But we still have some really good relationships with other advanced manufacturers within our community that we're still good partners with. So it's always good to have that Rolodex of people that you can call on who are hiring, who can also provide insight as well. So part of the program is they're kind of our canary in the coal mines. When things are shifting in regards to investment or when people are moving, we have a good relationship that we can find out how we can help mitigate attrition in our community.
Okay, thank you for that. I think that it's really important for us to, sort of weave the story together of our BIP recipients and others that we're working with to show why is it important? How do all of these pieces come together? And I think in that workforce space, really trying to drive that home that we're being proactive here. And I really like when we can raise that story to help, it's kind of a bitter pill to swallow sometimes. And so this makes it just a little bit better. So thank you for that. And with that, I think we should move on to our next item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to talk to you about Project BizUp. That was just a placeholder name that I gave it way back in the day. I didn't know it was going to take hold, so I apologize for the nomenclature. I'm responsible for that. But Dr. Johnson mentioned that when I came on board, she introduced us to all the town managers, and we went over the strategic plan 2.0. Phase 2 of that was myself and Shaw went out and met with all the town managers and wanted to understand what support services they desired. Not surprisingly at all, they wanted everything. And so we had to help them prioritize what they would like. And there were two things that stood out. They wanted us to help them get the community built in the way they want it built. Be it placemaking, be it other activities. They have small area plans. They have comprehensive plans that they've been sitting out there for years. And for whatever reason, it's not coming to fruition. They've asked us to help them with that. They also asked us that we help with small businesses in their community in an expansive way. So that's how Project BizUp was born. So our team went out and met with the towns on the North Meck side, Davidson, Cornelius, Huntersville, individually. And then we went to and then we met with them as a team, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then we went to the South Meck side, met with Pineville, Matthews, and Mint Hill as a unit to hear what they had to say. I will suggest to you that during our first interview with those folks, they had a strong interest in becoming certified as a historically, they had a strong interest in providing services to their community that include how to become a government contract, how to become certified as a minority, women, or underutilized business, credit coaching, individualized small business counseling, and concierge service. We have a list of resources where businesses can go for support that we don't provide or duplicate. And they also had a very strong interest in helping access to capital, credit coaching I mentioned, but also MEC lending as well. So we have been putting together a program that provides those services. What you probably will notice is our anchor programs, the 4.5-month programs, Get Up and Grow, what a business launch pad, they are not part of our initial programming. We did not necessarily have the capacity or the planning in place to roll those programs out. They take a long time. So we're offering basically all the small business services, but for those, and we'll offer those as time allows us to do so. And for the south MEC side of the county, they wanted the same services, but they also wanted some additional tools and resources that relates to communication. In particular, some of their small businesses don't understand how our permitting processes, how our certificate of occupancies work, and some of those businesses would have been more successful had they understand how local government works. They may know how to run a bakery, but they didn't understand that there are certain types of commercial kitchen requirements. They didn't understand that there's certain kind of electrical and hot water requirements that they didn't meet some of those needs. So in addition to what we're going to provide on the North MEC side, there's going to be some additional communication that we'll have on both sides, but primarily at the request of those on the South MEC side. Fred Atimo, who's on the call today, who couldn't be here in person, is the lead for this particular project. And you can see the other staff participants here. So in the sake of time, I'll just briefly say that we're somewhere in this general area. We're going to start launching our stakeholder engagement in March and April. That will probably be with all the chambers. All the town leaders say we want you to connect with the chambers. Some say we want you to connect with the Hurt Hub at Davidson. There's some downtown organizations. So we're going to get all of those folks together. So it's a collaborative effort working in unison with the folks that are there. And then we hope to roll something out probably May on the North MEC side, and then probably later May or early June on the South MEC side. We didn't have the capacity to do but all of this programming on both sides of the county. So that's why we have a staggered approach. So I'll stop there and see if you have any questions.
All right, let's start on the other side this time. Commissioner Altman, do you have any questions?
I think I'll defer to the District 1 representative.
Were you surprised by was anything surprising to you when you came into the towns?
Well, I will say there was a strong appetite for these services that we were already providing. They had felt that it would have been better served if it was done proximate to their locations, and it would have been more access for their businesses. I don't know that I was surprised by that. I was just saying that there was a clear signal that they all said.
And so how did you respond to that?
We're going to take these programs out into the communities where they are.
One thing I'll add, and I don't know if this is anywhere in alignment to where you're thinking or whatever. One of the things that I immediately noticed is when I first came to the county, economic development and any time period was either 1 or 2 person staff. And so we've significantly grown. We've stood up a lot of programming for the benefit and put a lot of effort because the board's direction to focus on small businesses. And so we did a lot of things that we've kind of kept to ourselves and we haven't shared with others or any other awareness. So when we had that first round of introductory meetings, no one knew, like you got all of this going on out there, and how do we leverage them, the town partners, to get the word out, to have a broader reach versus people just naturally coming from Charlotte proper, because people just come from Charlotte proper. So how do we ensure that we really are reaching our customer base beyond Charlotte proper? And I think part of it was making sure that our partners in the towns have this awareness, and they had no clue. And some of it may be my fault because I love the word pilot. I love for us to try it on and make sure it's good. before we push and make sure that we can manage to whatever we're advertising towards, right? And so immediately, the other piece of it was that we've staffed up to about 15 now, right? If they even have an economic development staff, it may be one person. So they can't realize what is the best opportunity for themselves with their resource capacity, but we could probably together achieve those results and leverage our expertise for the same common good. So that's kind of how we approached it. And so it wasn't surprising. It was unfortunate, but it wasn't surprising that they had no awareness. And then it was welcoming for them to be like, oh my gosh, all of these things that you're identifying are things that we think that we need in our community, and we'd love to have them.
And that's what I would say, like I hear quite often that in the northern towns and probably the southern, that, well, they appreciate us for our tax base, but everything's so Charlotte centric. And so I'm really happy to see the expansion out into the towns because they are part of Mecklenburg County and they're significant. And I watched the Huntersville Town Board meeting last night until 10:06 p.m. And what you're saying is exactly right. They are so tiny compared to Mecklenburg. So when we can step in and say what resources that we have available to make things better for everyone, this really matters to me. How do we support our small businesses, not just in Charlotte, throughout the county? And if you know anything about me, I love small business. To me, and I'm older, but it really is the backbone of America as I knew it. And so I love that we're doing this. Thank you. That's it.
Anybody else?
Just ditto all of that.
No.
Just real quick, definitely appreciate the approach. I specifically like that you didn't try to do the one size fits all, that we really took the information and the feedback back from the communities and tailored it with the umbrella that was comprehensive, right? So we have this plethora of this platter that we can provide, and also that tailored approach I think is phenomenal. And then just to double down on what Commissioner Powell said, I do think it would be good, Madam Chair, to consider for the committee in particular to really get some data and so we can have a better understanding of the value of small business. We support small business, but I don't know if we understand the impact that small businesses have, not only locally, but nationally, what it means. We think of Bank of America, we think of Truist, and we think of these big behemoths with respect to jobs, employment. But I think the data will reflect that small business is really the catalyst and the engine that drives the economy, not just locally, but nationally. And so it would be great for us to consider that moving forward if we could get a report on that.
Madam Chair? I'll just make one comment. Sure, thank you. That just reminds me, I've been wanting to know what is the GDP for Mecklenburg County? And if we can find that number out, can we get a breakdown of the components? Thank you.
These are great comments, y'all. I really do like that you guys didn't just have a little think tank and go, what will be a small town approach? You actually went to the small towns and spoke to all of them and got their feedback. So I think that's really excellent. I actually went to the meeting for the southern towns, as you know. And one thing that really struck me is that you guys kind of offered to be their staff. You said, you actually put yourself out to them and said, we will be your staff. And I remember that really struck me at the time because I thought, wow, this is, this shows the inclusivity. You are part of the county, and we are, putting our money where our mouth is, and our mileage where our cars are going to be going all over the place. And so the idea that you're taking your programs, our programs out into the towns, you know, Mark and Fred and whoever, you know, like, I'm just visualizing them, you know, and I think that people always had access, but they just didn't really know about it, right? So, so I think it's really important that we're getting the word out, which I would love to know if we are advertising in the local papers and local newsletters, you know, like South Charlotte Weekly, you know, Matthews Mint Hill Times, that kind of stuff. Pineville has a newsletter. I'm sure the northern towns do as well. I don't know if we do advertise with them for like the Career Expo and things like that, because, you know, that's the kind of thing I think people would travel to. You know, as you said, Pineville, someone came from Pineville to your workshop. So I just don't really see the advertising personally that much in the towns. And I think that would be a good thing to do. And the idea of not offering the 4-month programs, I get that you don't, you know, you're not taking those on the road. But advertising them for people to be able to come to, I think for them to know that those are available is super important. I think that's it. That's all I had. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I think it's, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I think that's one of the things about Economic Development Committee is I feel like ever since we got here, we've been talking about small business and wanting to push down our efforts, you know, so that it's not just about all the large corporations. Not that we don't love them too, but just, you know, our focus, we've wanted to push that down. And I think that's what we're really seeing, and we really appreciate that. So it looks like we have more, another page on our, this isn't the closed session part, right? This is still, okay. Yeah, we're going to be going over our hour, guys. Do we need to? Oh, is this an hour? Someone told me it was
On the schedule, and that,
okay.
It's the second one that's on here.
Oh, okay.
on the schedule, it says,
On the schedule.
on my calendar, I think. it
Oh,
says.
3:30 to 5 it says on here. So,
Yeah.
okay, great. Whew. All right,
Okay.
all right.
All right, good afternoon again. My name is Monica Greer. I'm a compliance officer with the Business Diversity and Inclusion Program. And I will give you a brief update on the Crowns of Enterprise Awards that is partnered with the City of Charlotte Business Inclusion Program. So this is where I like to say work hard meets play hard, because we get to not only recognize and honor and celebrate minority businesses, women-owned businesses, small businesses, but prime contractors and diversity advocates that are making a difference in the community, media personality and media outlets that are bringing awareness of successes and maybe issues that different backgrounds are having in the community. So we really use this program to celebrate and honor. We have different resources and platforms that we use, our City of Charlotte website, Mecklenburg County website, as well as other tools and resources that we have throughout the community to spread the word about the program. So here you may see a few familiar faces. This is an image from 2023, Crowns of Enterprise. This is our first year back in person. We celebrated our 12th annual award ceremony. And here you can see a lot of the diverse winners of the different award categories. We have HVAC companies, we have nonprofits, that help support small business owners grow in assets. We have public relations and construction firms that have won the awards. So I do encourage you, when you do have a moment, these are links that you can click on and hear their stories, because it is a very heartfelt event. This is very validating for a lot of the small business owners to say that they've stepped out on faith, they stepped out on a vision that they had, and they are receiving recognition for taking that leap of leaving maybe security of a 9-to-5 job. So a lot of them provide encouraging words to other small business owners and show gratitude for those not only that received the award, but also for their team. They understand that they didn't do it alone, that it is a team effort that got them where they are. There's also a link there for the Crowns of Enterprise images for all of 2023. So you may see more faces and pictures like this here, but that is one that we took at the end of it, celebrating all the winners there. And so for this year, we just wrapped up our nomination period. It closed on Friday, January 19th. Here's one of the tools that we use, the digital billboard on 4th Street. And so right now we are in our judges review section. So we will have the judges meet in this room this Friday to review the over 100 nominations they received. So we will meet for our judges lunch, about a 2-hour session where they come together and discuss who they feel is a great fit for each winner of the categories. And then for our judges panel, we try to keep this a holistic event, not just a one and done. So we invite a lot of our winners back to be a part of our judges, as well as we include resource partners. So this year we have resource partners representing the Asian Chamber, as well as the Native American Chamber, and then 3 winners going back to 2015 as one of the recipients of Crowns of Enterprise. So this year, the Crowns of Enterprise will take place in May, the month of May, Small Business Month. We always keep it tied into our small business, the different events that are going on throughout the month of May. So May 9th, we will be at Project 658. We'll have a mix and mingle from 5 to 6, and then the award ceremony will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. We do have a call to action. We would love for you all to participate, to bring greetings, as well as to present an award category. I believe Commissioner Rodriguez McDowell, you presented last year, as well as participated in our virtual event as well.
Yeah.
So we are asking for participation. And again, this event is open to all of our Board of County Commissioners. So please come and share in this exciting event where we recognize the small businesses in Mecklenburg County. I'll do a little plug there. There's a link here for WBTV. I did an interview a few weeks back, Saturday morning at 6 in the morning. It was a live interview that really spoke to the nomination period to really get those to let them know that you can self-nominate. Nonprofits are open to be nominated, as well as any business that you frequent. It's an opportunity for them to be recognized and honored. That is it. That is all I have. Any questions?
Wow, fantastic. You guys have any questions? No? Commissioner
The
Durant?
food was great.
The food was great. And that was provided by a minority business
It
owner.
was, and
Yes.
it was fantastic. So
Good.
I just wanted to say that.
I just wanted to say, I really like how you're using past recipients on the judges panel. I think that's fantastic. And plus the chambers that you mentioned,
Mhm.
that's great. That's really great. I love how intentional that is.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. Do we have any other, anything else?
That's it for open session. I just want to point out to everybody that there are things that go on outside of the committee meetings that involve the committee chair, and she's been very good about representing the committee on those meetings.
Oh, I left without my mug.
That's
didn't I?
right.
Yep.
So we've had a couple of grand openings in the past few months. And in this case in particular, this was a company, HTML Perma, that is one of the longest running companies we were working with in terms of BIP. Shaw actually handled that because I wasn't here yet. But they had the grand opening, and Chairman Dunlap was scheduled to speak. And Susan was coming as just to be there. And turns out that our chairman had a dead battery and was unable to attend. So at the very last minute, she stepped in and provided remarks and did a great job. And so we don't get to see some of those things outside of the meeting very often, but I wanted to make sure y'all knew that she was representing.
Oh, thanks, Clay. Yeah, I had to scratch out George's name so I didn't accidentally say it because I was so nervous about, reading off my little script. I was like, okay, gotta cross out his name, put my name in there. Yeah, no, it was really kind of you to bring me what do you call this? A beer stein or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a German company.
Yeah.
So anyways, I left without one, so thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so now I will entertain a motion to go into closed session. We lost Commissioner Jarrell. I guess he can let himself back in.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion moved and properly seconded. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'll entertain a moment to, a motion to adjourn. All right, all right, all those in favor, aye. We're adjourned.
Great job.